I'm back in Missouri in the Arctic Midwest. Woke up this morning, we got snow on the ground. It's freezing temperatures, wind's blowing harder than shit. So let's go in the garage and talk about winterizing your bike. And when I say winterizing your bike, I mean getting your bike ready to ride in the winter. Because I ride year round. We're going to specifically talk about the Sundowner Heated Seat, tell you what I think of that. This is going to be kind of a review video of that. But I'm going to give you some tips and some other things I do on my bike to make it more rideable for the winter months. So there is the Sundowner seat, and there are the heated controls. You can see them right here on the side. And there's 3 bumps at the top, none at the bottom. This is low, middle is off, that is high. Okay. I put this on before winter. I've tested it, rode it in a few days, just above 30, just below 30. I haven't had much opportunity to ride in temperatures outside that because when the temperature's been outside that, the roads have been covered with snow and ice. Seat is well constructed. I like it. You got a little Harley Davidson gold badge here. You've got a split in it so you can do a rider backrest if you want. Now, I found this seat to be very, very comfortable. And you know, probably what everybody's looking at this for is about how well does the heat work. But obviously, if the seat is uncomfortable, it's not gonna matter if it's warm, you're not gonna wanna ride on. So first, comfort. Very comfortable. I had a Sundowner seat on my 2016 Street Glide for years. I bought it before we went to Sturgis. When I was at Sturgis, I got it custom fitted with some more gel and reshaped. And I really like that seat. I don't know that I would do anything like that to this one because this is a heated seat, but I find it comfortable and it fits well just the way it is right out of the box. Now, as far as the heat goes, well, chestnuts roasting on an open fire make any sense to anybody? Because let me tell you, on low, it is warm. On a day that was 34 degrees, we rode 30 plus miles at 60, 70 mile an hour. And on low, I would have to reach down and turn it off once in a while because it would get too hot. The first time I rode it on high, just going to work, when it was about 31 degrees, 30 degrees, and on high, I had to turn it off within 5 minutes. I flipped it to low. It was still very, very warm by the time I got to work. So you can definitely feel this. Now, I'm not wearing heavy insulated, pants or snowsuit or anything like that. Of course, the more insulation you have between you and the seat, the harder it is going to be for you to feel the heat from the seat. I typically wear either quilted blue jeans that are lined or like heavy Kevlar single layer riding jeans. And I can feel the heat through those just fine. I think the Sundowner seat is very affordable. I really like it. I have not tried any other heated seats from anybody else, so I can't tell you that it's better than anybody else's, but I can tell you I'm very happy with it if you're considering this purchase. If you are interested in this seat, I'll leave a link in the description down below. All right, guys, this video is brought to you by Ben Schmidt Law Firm. Ben is not just a personal injury attorney. If you get in a motorcycle accident or car accident, any kind of personal injury, he's there to help you out, but he is also a rider, a motorcycle collector, racer. He races old Nortons. Ben truly cares about our community and the motorcycle culture, and he supports events all across Missouri, and that's why I'm proud to be associated with him. And I want to thank Schmidt Law Firm and Schmidt Law Firm Racing for supporting our channel and sponsoring today's video. Now, what else do I do to my bike to get it ready for riding in the winter? Well, typically a taller windshield. So this year I put on the Clockworks 10-inch windshield. It works great. I can ride with my visor open and my face doesn't get cold from the helmet. I can ride with the chin bar up and my face doesn't get cold in 35-degree temperatures because it's deflecting enough wind that I'm fine. Now, I usually have a little winter fuzz. I've trimmed it down already this year, and of course, old man winter come back to say, ha ha, screw you. Now, when I bought my bike in October, I got a special with it was free handlebars installed. So I went with LA Choppers, 12-inch Twin Peaks. And while they were doing that, I said, just go ahead and throw heated grips in. So I got heated grips installed while they were having the bars and everything off. They cut me a little of a deal because they had to do a lot of that work for the labor part of it already. So that worked out really well for me. The new heated grips work great. I am actually impressed with them compared to the heated grips I had from Harley Davidson on my 2016. I think these are a little better. We're going to talk about them and winter gloves in another video very soon because someone asked me to review my Odin gloves that I wear all the time. So I'm going to talk about all of those gloves and how they work with heated grips and stuff and what I've learned this winter on this setup for this bike. Now, the other thing I did before winter was I put hand guards on. You can see these here. These are from Advan Black. They're color matched. I did a review on them and talked about the install. If you want to know more, there's a video on my channel for that. But because I run heated grips, I wanted wind protection as close to the heated grips as I could get. I find that has really helped a lot over the years with having heated grips. The first few years I did not have those, and I would have to wear heavy gloves, and then I couldn't feel the heat through the gloves. Again, that insulation, how thick of stuff you're wearing makes a difference whether you can feel the heat or not. You defeat the purpose of having heated hand guards or heated seat if you're wearing too much insulation between you and the heated component. So having hand guards let me wear slightly less heavy, thick gloves where I could feel the heat through those from the heated grips. So those setups have worked great. I just got some heated gear right after Christmas. I have not got to test it yet, but the new 24s have a heated connection underneath the seat. Let me show it to you. Now I'm not going to take the seat off, but right here under the seat, there is on top of that 2 plugs. They look like this, and you can just pop them out and swing them over here. The problem is that's as far as they reach, and that is not far enough to reach your heated gear, like your jacket and pants. This pigtail needs to be at least a foot longer. Harley, I don't know why you don't sell an extension for this. You really kind of messed up there, but I did find one on Amazon that will work off of this connection. They also make them that will work off your battery tender connection. So if you're riding with an older bike and you have a battery tender connection, but you don't have the heated gear hookup, you can get an adapter that will allow you to plug heated gear into that as well. So let's show you those real quick. All right, so on Amazon, this is that same plug. This is just like a 12-inch extension. That's gonna get it up from there to my pants or my jacket, whatever gear I'm wearing. In my case, I got a jacket, basically a liner, that I'm gonna wear underneath my coat and see how that does. I got Firecracker, my wife, some pants and stuff, but her bike does not have that heated gear connection on it. So I found these on Amazon, and they have that barrel on one end for the heated gear connection, but the battery tender connection on the other end. And this is about 12 inches as well. So you can extend that battery tender connection up to run heated gear off of that as well. The difference is this is gonna be running unswitched straight off the battery all the time. All right, guys, that is my review of the Sundowner heated seat from Harley Davidson. What I think of it after using it for one winter. We're pretty well done with winter here. We're into March. So hopefully this is the last of the Arctic crap that we're gonna see, and we're gonna get back to doing more riding. I have gotten a lot of riding in the last few weeks in Austin, Texas, riding the new Softails. If you're interested in videos, first rides, first looks at the new Softails and stuff, I'm gonna have a bunch of those videos on my channel coming up. Please consider liking and subscribing. And of course, we'll sprinkle in some gear reviews, some events here in the Ozarks, things like that we're doing this spring as well. If any of you are coming to Spring Fling, I highly recommend you check out Pig Trail's Facebook page. They have an event that I'm doing with them. It's a guided ride to raise money for charity. We're going to raise money for a children's advocacy center called Grandma's House in Berryville. It's only $10 to ride. You do need to sign up in advance because they will limit it to 50 spots for safety reasons. So if you want one of the guaranteed 50 spots, you got to sign up in advance. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. If you don't do Facebook, you can probably do it on their website or something else. I think that's where the link actually takes you. But we'd love to see you at Spring Fling and help support a charity and do a little ride with us from Rogers, Arkansas over to Eureka Springs, and then celebrate Spring Fling in Eureka Springs.